Lists or what?
Oh, that's a great question. I think they are just like AI generated.
They're an AI generated company. All right. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 774. Why Fallout is blowing everyone away, and that could be taken in multiple contexts. We're just going to say why people like Fallout and see what the Looper, or just Looper, has to say. Looper is a giant YouTube channel. It's been around for I don't know how long. It's got almost 6 million subs. And this came out a week ago. It's got almost 200,000 views. And this is like, as Keyframe was, you're saying, like Watch Mojo and a bunch of other YouTube channels are like the top 10.
Exactly like Watch Mojo.
What's the top 10 reasons for liking X? And here it is. And you're like, did you do a survey? Like, how did you figure
Top 10 things. Top 5 things to put on my bomb.
I don't know. Fallout is this is with everything. If you turn your brain off and you look at the production value, oh, it's pretty. Oh, it sounds good. It has licensed music. They got attractive actors. The sets don't look like crap. The CGI doesn't look like utter crap.
Like all the stills are like trying to convince you that this is like a high production show, which it is. Like they spent a lot of money on this, but it's just it falls apart when you just start listening to like the dialogue and why are they connected, because there's so little connections between these things.
Yeah, I think every episode's 12. They said 12 to 14 million, I think, in production value.
19 at least, because like the whole show was $156 million, and that's the public information that
Amazon shared. I was curious if that included marketing or not, but
it probably did not. They never include marketing.
Yeah, I don't recall any marketing. I don't recall seeing any.
Just the sheer amount of like makeup and the sets that they are using. Like they are not perfect, but like they are serviceable, much more serviceable than like what I have seen from the Cowboy Bebop thing from Netflix.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you see a bunch of trees and they're sitting in the water and there's like they have these broken down cars, like it's pretty good. I think some of the cars look like they would in the Fallout games, but a lot of them are just like, that's just a car that they got at a scrap heap and they dragged it here.
We're probably not gonna see a Chrysalis Highwayman.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Oh yeah, there's lots of things. There's lots of props. There's lots of references that even I was like, is that an authentic design? It's like, yeah, they use the actual designs of the guns from Fallout 4, which I'm not too fluent in. So 4 is a fine game, but it's not for me. It's just not my thing. Especially when you have New Vegas to play and mod and just have fun with. Like there's so many things you could do in New Vegas that you just can't in Fallout 4. Like kill everyone is the most simplest thing, because no one aside from Yes Man can be completely killed. So it's with Vegas, like you can't kill what's his name, Garvey Preston. Like you can't just kill him. Like he annoys the crap out of me. I just can't kill him. He keeps popping up every minute. And I don't like this dude. He's annoying me. Like, can you imagine having an annoying person in not your squad, but just a guy hanging around who just annoys you every 20 minutes?
The super fan from Oblivion.
Oh yeah, and they got that in Starfield as well. You could actually get a perk.
Oh no!
That gives you a super fan on your ship, and I was like, why would I ever want that? This annoying dude who just is gushing about you every time you do something. That'd be pretty annoying. So I don't know what.
Well, they are very self-referential anyway. So
I guess this is no longer the game from Black Isle or Tim Kaine or all those guys. It's definitely not a product of Josh Sawyer's creativity, and some people like Josh, some people are like ambivalent about him. That's fine. I don't think he's a genius. I think he's a hard worker. I think he's very good at what he did, and he did all those other weird games that I'm just not into. So New Vegas just
definitely doesn't even feel like Chris Avalon's thing, because I think like Chris wrote the Fallout 2 Bible.
Yeah, it was Tim Kaine. That was his baby, and Chris was along for the ride, and he did a lot of the writing. Yeah. Tim Kaine did a lot of everything, and that was like if you listen to Tim Kaine's talk about Fallout 2 on his channel, he's like really detailed what he did and how he cut ties and all this stuff that happened as a result of Fallout 2. and how he came back for. Did he do Vampire? I can't remember if he was involved with Vampire, but that was with Troika though. But no, all those guys are all interconnected, and they all had inspiration and influence from each other. But yeah, Chris Avellone always stands out as you could see partially his touches here and there. But the same with
very much in Lonesome Road.
Yeah, Lonesome Road's a hit and miss. Like parts of it I love, parts of it I just can't stand. And like even Pillars of Eternity, same thing. Parts of it I love, parts of it I can't stand. Same with the second one. If there's something, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the magic formula is for gaming and those guys and how they hold each other back or how they keep each other in check. There's got to be a creative process where people know that they go too far and like someone steps in and says, no, we can't do that. Or they know that this person is doing an amazing job. Okay, just let them do that thing. Keep them going. I don't know. That's the amazing thing about creative projects like gaming is that you get the one guy who's like, oh my God, I really like doing rotations. And we're going to have this amazing animation of a guy rotating when he walks to the left and walks to the right. Like just little details like, oh wow, that looks really good and smooth. And you just wanted to do that. And it's no cost to us. That's just making the animation of the character walking looking good. So it's little details like that like even Fallout 4 has some of that inside. So it's not this horrific game. It just doesn't hit all the levels as let's say Vegas did or Fallout 2 did for me. And as much
you
as
missed and you critically lost your next turn.
Yeah, even with Fallout 2, like you have a spear, you have was it 203 or the 223? I can't remember what the gun was. Like once you get that, you're like, oh, I should have no problems. And you're like, nope, you're missing all the time, and you're running out of ammo. It's like, oh, geez, now I got to go back to whatever stupid gun I was using before. So it's tough. Anyway,
it's really tough.
The Copperell, thank you, sir, for the 2. Just did Dead Money and glad the show dumps on Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, Dead Money and Lonesome Road are the 2 ones I was not really into, even though I like parts of them a lot. And with Dead Money, I think it's they bring out the Brotherhood's, not the Squire, what's his name?
The Elder.
Is he an Elder? I thought he was
yes, Elder Elijah.
Yeah, I know. He just like Elijah's this piece of crap. Like he's a horrible person. And you thought the Brotherhood were like really strict, principled dudes. He's like, no, he's out for himself, using the Brotherhood as a means. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, his last words are just horrible. Like he's trying to make a deal with the courier, and like he's completely lost it.
Yeah, it's like they limit you so much in both of those DLCs. Like you can't have a certain equipment. You have to have a really like below 100 weight just to go onto Lonesome Roads. You have to dump all your gear. And with Dead Money, it's you're constantly sneaking. There's those weird creatures. There's the fog that is poison, and there's all this crap. It just makes it less fun and limits your gameplay style. And it's not to say the story isn't interesting and how I like the antiquated concept. Like it's a heist story. I really like heist stories. And this one just feels like, oh, great. It's ironic because when you do the heist, it's like, how am I going to carry all this heavy gold? Like you just can't. It's so ironic that you get to the vault. It's like, oh crap. And then there's that, they glitch the whole explosion scene. Like you're running out of the vault while it blows up. And you have to do things in a certain order. Like I just hate it. I ended up replaying that like 15, 20 times just to exit properly. Because I was like, what is the proper order of events here that I need to do to exit this?
Oh, I glitched that one as well. I remember that I took all the gold bars because there was some kind of perk that allows you to go over the limit without slowing you down. And I got out. I even trapped Elijah so he can just rot in there forever.
Oh, jeez.
And like there was something happening with my screen because I remember that there's a sequence where you have to like run away back, but like it just didn't load that event, so I had to like fight the what are those, like the holograms again?
Yeah, I don't know. It was, you get that really cool gun, but it has a certain number of ammo, and you're like, oh, this is useless.
Yeah.
But even with Lonesome Road, I mean, you really got to like the weird prattling on of Ulysses, and he's talking about the bear. It's like, okay, we get it. You don't like the NCR. It's just, okay. Like, dude, can you shut up for like 2 minutes so I can just like kill a Deathclaw? Leave me alone. There's so much crap going on. You get a lot of cool gear, but it's just, it's a, I don't know. It's not for everyone.
It's bad.
There are bad moments. There's some good moments. All the DLC is awesome. As I say, the Old World Blues is my favorite DLC of all time.
Big Empty is the best.
It is so fun and quirky, and it's like, oh, this is what you want out of a DLC. You want the goofy Fallout and the visceral stuff. You have an argument with your brain. It's the funniest shit. And these things are what you expect from Fallout. They rewrote how Rad Scorpions were made.
Liquid Snake is finally the villain again.
Oh, it's just the hamminess, the 60s or the 50s pulp sci-fi vibe, the beautiful sync that you get into, and all the AI they're not true AI, they're whatever they call themselves, and all the goofy personalities. Like, everything was just charming and funny, and it felt like you were in a serialized 1940s sci-fi fighting evil, the evil doctor, whatever his name was. It was great. But anyway, we got TV shows to review from Loopers. Let's see what Looper says is so great about the Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime that's got renewed for a second season. Here we go.
From lifelong fans to franchise newbies, it seems everyone is asking one thing. Is Amazon's new Fallout series proof we're living in a golden age of video?
Golden age of video? What's the other show that has really good content that we've made from a video game? I can't think of any. I really can't. Is there some shows? It's not any of the Tolkien stuff. Can't be Rings of Power, also on Prime. I'm trying to think.
The kind of language they use is so vague. Like, every single review is just like it could be said about anything.
Yeah, do they mean like the Castlevania adaptations? That's just, I mean,
those were kind of hit and miss after season 1. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, you can like Castlevania all you like, but then you're like, oh, why are all these women super powerful? How did this happen? Who are these characters? Why
women?
I don't mind women. It's just like, how? Just explain the stuff. Oh, we have witchcraft. We have witchcraft in Castlevania? When was that? Anyway.
Game Fallout has endured an uphill battle to attract new viewers beyond fans of the game.
It was always a game, so why? I don't get it.
Because it tries to appeal to normies. That's why I'm assuming.
I did
like,
not
exactly audience that Halo is trying to get, but it's not really gonna pay the bills.
It's a weird thing to say. We're trying to get older people to watch Fallout. It's like, you are? It's a streaming thing. You could watch it if you're bored, and if not, who cares? You can go to the dentist and watch it. Like, who cares? Like, what's the big deal? That's a weird thing to say.
Because there's been no shortage of post-apocalyptic stories for quite some time now.
There's one every year. There's one movie every year about some post-apocalyptic thing. We just had the series finish from that was it Katniss and all her crazy. Came from a trilogy book series. I remember one with Tom Cruise. He was in some flick I never watched. Post-apocalyptic. There's all kinds of post-apocalyptic manga and anime to watch. So maybe this guy's just not aware of that. We still have the Handmaid's Tale, the Man from High Castle.
That's my favorite show.
Yeah, there's plenty of. I mean, I was reading years and years ago. Okay, maybe shows he's referring to, but still, there's plenty of stories out there, post-apocalyptic genre, and God knows so many games. So I don't. Maybe I'm just I've experienced more than this guy, but not a. We're not losing any things in post-apocalyptic genre. There's plenty of content out there.
The Walking Dead dominated the airwaves. Post-apocalyptic fiction was extremely popular. But since then, we've been deluged with zombies, nukes, asteroids, climate change, and more. By now,
there's climate change movies?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It's a whole franchise.
How does that translate to, like, what's the story? It gets really hot? Like, what are you talking? The air is 5 degrees warmer than we thought. Like, oh, so instead of 20, it's 25?
What wasn't that? I don't even remember, like, Netflix movie that was about that, like, there's gonna be something happening to the earth, and people are not believing the scientists, and like that's the whole plot.
Really?
With DiCaprio, I think that was.
Caprica? Wait a second. That was, what show is that? BSG?
It was on Netflix. It was a movie.
Okay, I try to watch these pseudoscientist style shows, but if they exist, that's fine. I don't care. Enjoy your fiction.
Yeah. I think like he's trying to like get to the kind of shit that like you hear every day, that there's a superhero fatigue, and it's because like we get too many of the same movies in the same genre, but they don't really approach the whole topic from the perspective that maybe those movies are not written too well.
Well, the idea behind being tired of something that's really good is the idea of like, there's too many fast food joints for hamburgers. Like, there's just so many hamburgers. They're so competitive.
All of them are trying to give me smash burgers. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's like, okay, these are all very good food items that are competing for your money and your time, and they're going to give you high quality, low cost things. You can get tired of that whole, oh, here we go again. They're going to give me a combo meal. They're going to give me $1 off or whatever it is. That is when you get tired of, I just don't feel like eating this thing anymore for the next few weeks. That's fine. When you're talking about a luxury good, like wine or whiskey or movies, movies are a luxury good. You don't need movies. You could go on just fine without movies. That is when things are so good that you get tired of having the same thing over and over again. And for media, that's a really weird thing. That's like saying, wow, we live in the age of 17 Shakespeares all producing content very similar to each other at the same time. I have not encountered that. If I had 2 Cowboy Bebops on at the same time, I'd be, oh my God, this is a golden age. And late 90s, early 2000s, we had a golden age of media, and not just Bebop, but Planescape Torment, the Final Fantasies were doing really good. Chrono Trigger came out. Fallout 2 was out. We had the PlayStation came out. All kinds of games. Like, we had so much amazing content in the late 90s, in the early 2000s, that we were just like, oh my God! Like, there's a fan for everything, every genre, every new style of game style that came out. So that is what we say. Okay, I got to take a break from gaming or movies or whatever, and go focus on education and go focus on my job or whatever the thing was. But nowadays, superhero fatigue is not a thing, because superhero movies suck. And they've sucked since halfway through the Marvel fiasco. Since like the
yeah, that's definitely around there.
Yeah, like the Thor series wasn't very good. Endgame wasn't very good. I'm just like listing all the big ones I could think of. Iron Man wasn't very good.
Honestly, like, I would say just Iron Man 1, the first movie, and that's it. Like, every single movie afterwards was just a waste of time.
Like Superman, or sorry, not Superman, even Batman, Superman, but the Spider-Man stuff. Like, there's so many Spider-Man movies, you get tired of the same. Oh, it's Spider-Man again.
Complete waste.
Yeah.
Like, why I'm getting tired of like those new Spider-Man movies is essentially like every single new edition from the new Spider-Man movies is the same thing. like the character just doesn't learn anything.
Yeah. And
he goes through the same character arc.
And if those stories were good, if those stories were different, and you gave us different perspectives, not because it's a multiverse or whatever nonsense, it's because the character is growing, and it's from a previous iteration that they are the same character, and then they grew from that, then great, we wouldn't get tired of it. It's like going to McDonald's and saying, oh, they got a Big Mac with Canadian pea meal bacon. Oh, that's different. It's still bacon, but it's a different flavor, different texture, different cut. I want to try that. And I don't know if you ever had a hamburger with pea meal bacon on top. It really opens your eyes. Like, ooh, I didn't think of that. So that's what we want. We want the same thing, but slightly different. That's high quality, and we're not getting that. That's all it is. That's all this concept of fatigue is. We're not getting the quality thing anymore. And that's all it is. So if all these movies were written so well, and the production value was reasonable, not high, but reasonable, like, I don't know, 50 million is reasonable, we'd still enjoy them because the story was there. The characters were there. The drama was there. That's what we want. We want drama. If it's comedy, then it's just, it's like watching Naked Gun. You're there for stupid, ham-fisted,
O.J. Simpson. Yeah.
O.J. Simpson in a wheelchair falling down some stairs and then pole vaulting off the end of the stadium. Like, that's stupid. That's funny. You laugh at it. We're not here for that. We're here for actual drama and to see what kind of man Peter Parker has become. And you can only do that so long until you reboot the whole series again. Same with Batman, same with Superman, etc., etc. And they're going to keep making Batman films. They're going to keep making Spider-Man films. We know that. So, just pick good ones.
Oh, it seems I've seen just about every doomsday that could possibly happen. Nevertheless, Fallout breathes fresh air into the Doomsday genre, particularly for viewers who aren't well acquainted with the franchise's history. The world of Fallout is more than just a post-apocalyptic wasteland. It's an alternate branch in our own history that imagines what the world would look like if the best and worst of the future envisioned by 1950s America came to pass. The franchise's iconic atomic punk aesthetic shows up in everything from building architecture to weapon designs, and it plays an integral role in the plot of the show too.
That was always stupid to me. Like, there's the kind of ship design that the Brotherhood of Steel has some weapon like that. Like, how in the hell did they build that?
I'm curious how. It was fun to see in Fallout 4 because you're thinking, okay, the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah. Like most of these horrible ideas come from Fallout 4, but like it just looks like it's completely new.
Yeah, like
not even the Enclave had this.
Yeah, the vertibirds the Enclave have, as well as the Brotherhood. I think Wait, did they have vertibirds in Fallout New Vegas? I don't remember. I don't think so.
Vertibirds?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. You can. The president comes with the vertibird. The NCR has some of those probably salvaged from the Enclave.
Okay, so that makes sense.
There's also another one from the Enclave remnants. If you do the side quest. Okay,
because I don't recall them. But the fact they have a giant ship, which I'm not even sure how it flies. Like vertibirds.
How it flies, what powers that thing?
Right. If we knew, it'd be like, oh, okay, that at least makes some sense because this is such a jump in technology. We have a flying platform like in a Marvel film. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. It's funny enough that they nerfed the power armor in 4 to make it more believable. Like you need, was it nuclear cores or something? Fusion cores?
Yeah, fusion core. That is also like, because there's a whole plot line in this TV show that the fusion core is stolen, and like the fusion core also powers the vaults, and the vault only has one fusion core. If you remove the vault, so basically like a power armor is equals a fusion core that can power a vault.
Oh, interesting. That's weird.
That is new.
We do have
that was never a problem.
We do have these I don't know what they're called, but they're basically chambers of radioactive material that are used to power satellites because they last indefinitely until the radiation of the or the half-life of the element, which is unstable, stabilize, which is going to take, thousands, millions of years, whatever the element is.
Yeah.
But it gives off such low radiation that just that amount of heat can power a satellite, which is in deep space. So it's not going to need too much power in the first place. So I kind of like the idea that they have this souped up, really dangerous version of that called a fusion core that has all kinds of energy that they use to fuel something. But it's not a battery. It's like a star. It only produces a certain amount of heat in its own way. There's no I'm going to drain more electricity out of it. No, you can't do that. It's just going to do what it's going to do in a very, very low heat environment. So I like the idea, and they're using it properly. But the fact I remember you're running around in a power armor for the first time in Fallout 4 right near the start, and then 15 minutes later you can't because you ran out of energy. You're like, what? Really? That was it? I could go to Fallout 2 and put this stuff on and never take it off. My power armor. So what the hell? Same with New Vegas, etc. So I like the fact they're limiting things, because I love that you're downgrading tech, because some stuff like power armor is overpowered, especially in Fallout 4. You take no fall damage. Your endurance is or your damage reduction is plus 40% or something like that. So all these things are good, but it comes at a cost. The problem is they nerfed everything. If it was there's some power armor that doesn't need a fusion core, but it's not as powerful as the stuff that needs it. It's that reminds me of something. A little stupid game called Mass Effect 2. But again, they nerfed every gun in Mass Effect 2 and made it even dumber than the first game, even if the first game was all unilaterally, all the guns are relatively the same, no matter the make and model, until you get mods. But there's always a trade-off, and they screwed it up.
With the fascinating world of Fallout for nearly 30 years, and the show brings that look to life in a way that is both hugely exciting and faithful to the series. Fallout knows exactly when to borrow iconic imagery and pieces of lore from the games too, helping to flesh out a world that feels more lived in and realistic than other grittier apocalyptic series, and a heck of a lot more fun too. When the Fallout series began in the late 1990s, it gathered a small following of dedicated fans, but was still relatively niche in the gaming world. The PC gaming market was smaller back then, and Fallout was a top-down role-playing game that didn't necessarily attract a wide audience. Still, the franchise continued to grow with Fallout 2, while Fallout Tactics: Brotherhood of Steel brought fans of strategy games to the franchise in 2001.
No. Brotherhood of Steel was not a commercial success. What are you talking about? It was a horrible game. People hated that game.
This kind of review is he's just reading through Wikipedia article.
This can't be right. I don't even remember. I heard of Brotherhood of Steel at the time, but I never played it. And only years later I tried it.
I just remember it being the black sheep of the series.
It is.
It caused them to lose money.
It was garbage. It's still, I don't know how they modded it to make it better, but you could barely play the game. And these were when all these interplay games were coming out of that style. And it's I'd rather just play Icewind Dale or something like that. This was really bad.
In the mid-2000s, developer Bethesda Softworks was hard at work on Fallout 3, which was to reinvent the mechanics of the franchise. At the time, Bethesda decided to buy the rights to the entire series from Interplay for $5.75 million. Bethesda was well established thanks to its popular Elder Scrolls series, and it envisioned a bright future for Fallout. That investment has paid off more than Bethesda ever could have imagined. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout Shelter are counted among Bethesda's best-selling games of all time. Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 have each sold over 12 million copies, while Shelter, which is free to play, has been downloaded more than 170 million times. Thanks in large part to Bethesda's support, the Fallout franchise was more popular than ever, even before Amazon began production on the live-action series. The creators of Fallout have walked a thin line when it comes to the show's
loyal to the lore. If by loyal to the lore you mean reinventing things and changing things and I don't mind when they add stuff. I like the inclusion in episode 2 of that leg, that ridiculous leg attachment, which just digs into your stub of a body part that got removed, and then attaches a bolt so you have a foot. That's funny, and it works. It makes sense. It's also stupid because you die within a day because you just run out of blood because there's nothing blocking the the stub, which is just ridiculous design. But that to me is something you would hear about or read about in a Fallout advertisement from Vault-Tec or something. It's like, yeah, we can give you a new leg. It's just a prosthetic. You just attach it to your stub. It's going to hurt like hell, but you'll be fine tomorrow. Or you die. It's like, what? Wait a second. So stuff like that is fine because it's just a piece of metal with some blades in it, and it's got a stupid bolt for a foot. It's when you change the way Pip-Boys work, when you add a removable tracker, which I don't remember that ever being in any of the games, that you could do that, or you invent a gun. Why would you need a trank gun in a vault? What would be the purpose of, unless there was like some experiment the Vault-Tec guys were doing, but we don't know, at least I don't know yet, so I'm only on episode 3.
That was kind of stupid, like the entire first sequence. Like, well, when you watch all the other episodes, because they have like a Riot Cop gear when they are guarding the prison, but none of them are using it while the raiders are attacking them. Like, nobody was standing guard during the marriage.
The thing that got me is as soon as that vault, was it Vault 32 door, which is connected to Vault 33?
Yes.
As soon as that opened, wouldn't their Geiger counters on their Pip-Boys go crazy? And plus, wouldn't you say, hey guys, where are all your Pip-Boys? Why aren't you wearing Pip-Boys, Vault 32 people? Or how about, hey, we haven't met 3 years ago. Where is everyone? You don't look recognizable at all. Who are you people? Like just basic stuff that just does not add up. That they could have easily filled in with dialogue saying, "Oh, I remember you from 3 years ago. How's it going, Sam?" And Sam's like terrified. It's like, "Hi, Overseer from Vault 33," because he doesn't want to get killed because he's got a gun to his back or whatever. Like just like little things like that would have easily filled in the blanks for why is everyone or even if the radiation was an issue, like maybe they're wearing the rad suits for like they explain that all the Vault-Tec suits are radioactive proof or whatever. Like that would at least explain something. Or they all like went up on drugs on Radaway or Rad-X, and the Rad-X wore off. Like that'd be funny. Like you're on Rad-X, and that suppresses somehow radiation.
And like once in episode 8, have you seen episode 8?
No, I haven't. I'm only in episode 3, and my interest is like, meh, I'll watch it.
Okay, because like once you see episode 8, like you just think back to the episode 1, because you realize that all those raiders are just NCR refugees.
What?
And like, yes, because Moldaver is one of the head honchos at the NCR.
Oh.
And so she's the only living officer left from the NCR that leads those people. So they are literally like refugees, because like there's a scene in the very last episode when the Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR are fighting with each other, and both of them have someone holding each other factions' flags while they are like trying to charge at each other. Why would random raiders have the NCR flag if not for that?
So, what you're telling me is that NCR people somehow
have been reduced to the level of the cons and like all those other like raiders around them.
Those drug addicted psychopaths.
In less than 20 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Even though they have a leader who knows everything and like she has been like doing all she can. It just doesn't make any sense to like reduce like the mentality of those people.
Oh God. Well,
it's crazy.
If there's a backstory and explains it, that'd be great. But I'm gonna guess there's not. So anyway,
there's not. There's only like some flashbacks and that's it.
Well, we got some super chats. I'll read those up and we'll keep going. The Caporal, Christine exploded. I took all the gold as well. Oh, that's not cool. Christine was a cool character, considering she had no dialogue. It's like, oh, the woman who has nothing to say. Amazing. Let's keep her along. Oh, and Legacy for the $9.99. If you're a normal guy in power armor, you'll be beaten by a mutant bear who dies in 2 shots from a small arm. But if you're black, you can demolish buildings like paper. Yeah, that kind of pissed me off.
That didn't make any sense.
I understand maybe a bear has a really strong claws that can slice through steel. It's like, okay, let's go with that. You got to hurt them somehow.
What I was thinking is that like the knight Titus was like a complete coward, so that's why like he didn't try. But like, he did try that. Like he was punching the bear 2 times or 3 even.
Yeah,
And
that's
it didn't do anything.
that does, because I'm quite sure power armor, at least that we saw from Maximus when he gets it, is so powerful that 2 little bullets from his gun is going to do very little in comparison. If you had that power armor and you punched anything, like it would shatter. It would be like, I don't know what hydraulics they've got or pneumatics they have, but if what we saw after the fact, where he launches that cinder block into the ocean, like from 80, 100 yards away, it's like, holy crap, that's far. And he breaks a building with kicking a brick at it. I'm like, what is... Or he flies. Like, imagine the bear comes at him, you just fly up in the air, and then you just let go of your jets, and you just crush him. Like what is happening? How strong is this bear? So there's... Like if you're a coward, like Titus was, because he was a weirdo, you would just swing your arms like a madman. Like, get away from me! Oh wait, I'm super strong. I can crush your limbs with my fingers. Like, just do that.
He's only super strong when the Riot demands it.
There was that scene. It mirrors episode 3 because both Thaddeus takes the place of Maximus, but he has a freaking huge gun. But he fires 1 round. He gets scared and runs. That was stupid.
Yes.
But there's this scene where Titus, he gets his gun blown up or whatever, and the bear growls, and then he just looks. He turns the camera and looks at Maximus like, "Oh shit!" It's like, what do you want him to do? You're the guy in the armor. You're in the fully protected super body exoskeleton. Why are you running from a bear that, okay, yeah, I could scratch you, but you could like crush it with any appendage you've...
Because maybe like these bears also like are as smart as the ghouls because they were wearing the power armor as well as the humans back then. So they know the weak spots as well.
Oh God. Is that what happens?
No. I wish.
Okay. When I saw episode 2, I'm like, what is happening?
When you reach episode 6, that's gonna be like fucking wild, because I don't know if you have seen the teaser. Like, there's like a one-eyed overseer in one of the walls.
I saw him as in the trailer, yeah.
And they tried to play it down that like, oh, there's something creepy. Like, there's something really creepy about this vault. Like, I have a feeling about that. Like, we're not safe here, and then it turns out that those people are actually hiding something, but I'm not gonna spoil it because it's gonna be painful for you. So you can experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
But like, what happens is that like there's also something extremely creepy, like a blood ritual happening.
Oh my God!
in honor of Moldaver, because of NCR Refugees made it, and they are drinking blood, and I'm not shitting you. They are drinking blood of like the people who used to live in the NCR, like the dead bodies of the NCR refugees, and they are like naked. All of them are naked.
What?
And then the next scene, all of them forget about it. Like, none of that happened. That was insane.
Okay, well, the fact that they have like a mutated character, like has a one eye or one arm, like that's fine because that's completely believable. It makes sense that we would have mutations, and there's all kinds of stories of mutations in the Fallout series. So it's like if I was a writer for an adaptation, like let's have some fun with cosmetics and character props and wardrobe to have like a guy with 2 arms or 3 arms or whatever. It's like, yeah, that would make, even though that's not in the lore, it's like you could build that to explain, well, this was a vault that did that. You're like, oh, perfect. Yeah. The vault did it. Vault-Tec did it. It's like, yeah, Vault-Tec would do something stupid like that. So stuff like that is fine. It's how it's done and how it's explained. And this is the problem with this show, not just the lore, but just common logic and sense of these people who are vault dwellers, are supposed to be super smart and efficient and concerned about their lifestyle. And it's just like, okay, this whole wedding scene would never happen. But, it's a show.
Games, and this approach appears to have served them well in the universe as a video games, but it doesn't try to adapt the storyline of any particular game. The plot is entirely original, and outside of a few cheeky references, no characters from the games appear in the show.
Well, now that is a very small drop in a very, very large bucket of drugs.
Gamers are notoriously picky about their lore, and the Fallout series could very easily have left longtime fans bewildered and frustrated.
They did. Like that scene with the tranquilizer dart, that doesn't exist. And we have to wait a second. When did they have trank guns in Fallout of that style and that design? They don't have it. They have similar guns, but not like that.
I still believe it was the last minute choice because they didn't want to kill off the prisoners. They eventually just gonna kill them off anyway, but it doesn't matter. They just want to have the Tran Gun so Lucy can keep them. And the other thing is that so Lucy doesn't need to kill people just yet.
Yeah, that I don't understand. All they had to do was have a fight with all the raiders that are trying to kill them and just knock them out. Because, I don't know, they have no weapons, so what are they going to do? Strangle them? Put them to sleep? Sure. I'm sure some have to die, like that guy who gets cut in two by the door.
Yeah.
Which was done for comedic effect. That's fine. It's Fallout. But you don't need to invent a weapon so that you can create another scenario in the future for a subplot that has nothing to do with the main story for the sake of having, episode 3, I was just like, this is stupid. All the vault dwellers, we're so naive. We're going to reform everyone. It's like, are you... They murdered...
You have seen some part of communication. He was showing his asshole.
Oh, it was like, are you guys, you're supposed to be smart, right? You're supposed to be
Yes.
But even if you're stupid, you just saw them kill your friends and family, and you want to reform them?
Every single person who has a leading position, except one person who's actually just a plot twist, has intelligence too, a low intelligence run from Fallout.
Yeah, and that's and the scene I mentioned in my video, the slow moving fat black guy, he makes the joke, get that whatever the food thing out of here, and then it blows up.
Jello cake,
whatever it was, and it's like no one's killing the big fat slow moving black guy. Why? Because they got to get him for the next scene so he can say something stupid. And it's like, I don't there's so much stuff in this show that if they wanted to do it this way, this is not how it would turn out. And I'm not even talking about lore. I'm not talking about, they should be using power armor this way. No, if they want to have characters in certain scenarios, set it up properly. Even with the reveal of the thumbs up, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so stupid that they had to have a scene with a little girl, a little black girl in a multicultural family, that she has to have a talking scene with her daddy about the thumbs up. And it's like, she would know who her daddy is. She would know her daddy's the poster guy for the Vault Tech boy. And she would have watched him on TV. She would have seen literal posters of him with the thumbs up. So she wouldn't ask, why wouldn't you do the thumbs up, Daddy? And he would give the bullshit answer of, well, I was in the Marines, and in the Marines they did this. It's like, Daddy, I was with you when you did the photo shoot for the thumbs up. You were there. What's the problem?
The Marines told me to do this.
Why invent this whole story? What's the point? If you want to have a little girl within the context of the foreground, meaning the birthday party, happy, everyone's happy. The background, nuclear bomb going off. Just have that scene. You don't have to set it up so that there's a stupid payoff where none of this makes any sense and everything's so contrived in reverse. He just happened to be a Marine. He just happened to be an actor. He just happened to be the ad guy for Vault-Tec. He just happened to have a little girl. He just happened to have bring the little girl with him to the birthday party to be her, I don't know, his assistant. And then they just happened to be the nuclear explosion going off. Like, this is so convoluted just to have this scene. And I bet there's no other mention of it later on. There could be, but I bet there's no reason to, because they just wanted to have that young actress talk to her daddy about, why is there a thumb? Why aren't you doing the thumbs up, Daddy? It's like, oh my God, this is so stupid. Anyway, this just basic writing has nothing to do with lore. This is why
they similarly just wrote those episodes on the go. Like, they didn't think ahead of themselves.
There's so many issues that a editor would just go, okay, you don't need to do this. Get rid of that. This is dumb. This is fine, but if you're going to go that way, focus on it. Don't just throw it in there. And you could tell there's a lot of quick scenes. I don't know if you remember what in the third episode where they're fighting the Gulper.
Yes.
And you don't know why he leaves his bag right next to him. There's no reason to do that, because it's usually around his chest, but he takes it off. Like, why? So he drops on the ground. Why? There's no reason. And then there's a scene where he's stabbing the Gulper with the spear, but you don't know he had a spear. He had a hook. He had this stick, a hook on a stick. And what he did, if you pause the scene, he took the knife, and there's a scene right before that lasts like a second where he pulls out a knife, and you hear the shring, and there's a little bit of rope, and then that's it. And then suddenly, you didn't see that. There's no him actually doing it. He ties the rope around the knife to the end of the hook, or the other end of the hook stick. And I didn't know that, because I was like, you hear that slicing sound. I was like, wait, is he stabbing him with the hook? That doesn't make any sense. So you have to.
I did notice that there was something odd with the editing. Like, they had like two different ideas.
There's something going on where they're rushing the story. Things are just happening so quickly, even though you might think it's slow because they're walking in the wasteland. But everyone's it's just a small universe. Everyone just knows each other. Everyone just ends up like the Ringo Bingo guy just happens to meet up with Lucy again right outside the store when she's leaving, and that whole plot just disappears. Then he just comes right back because he's there. And then the ghoul meets Lucy again right when she's at the lake. You're like, what? Like, it just, everyone just knows. And then of course, what's the other squire? He has that stupid Geiger, this Uber Geiger counter, and then we see a zoom in. It's just a dial.
Yes.
It's just a freaking speedometer. You're like, how did this guy track anything with this? I thought it was like a computer screen, like with like radar and like topography, and like there's a dot, and you're like following the map. It's like, no, it's just a stupid guy. It's like, this is so stupid. How does any of this make any sense? So they could have done so many basic things to fill in the blanks, but no, they gotta smash characters together, go on to the next scene. Oh, my dad, I just want to save my dad. It's like, okay, fine, I'll chop your head off. Whatever. It's like, okay. How do you know so much? I don't know. He's dead the next scene. Like what's the point? Anyway.
Show's attention to detail is breathtaking, lifting objects, locations, and even sound.
No, see, the attention to detail of that med kit is retarded because you have the cure-all called the stim pack. You don't need bandages. You don't need gauze. You don't need pins. Just have a pack of stim packs. It cures anything. Cures dogs, cures men, cures women, internal, external bleeding, fractures. Doesn't matter.
Effects straight from the games. The team working on the show clearly cared deeply about doing right by the fans.
Except that gun this guy uses and the other gun this guy uses, that makes no sense. Like, I don't know. People were saying it was like explosive rounds from the basic pipe style weapon in Fallout 4, and I'm like, is that a thing? Is it really?
It only makes sense if you have the explosive mass perk.
I don't know. Like, where did this?
All of these things.
This gun is super. It does penetration and explosion and blast back damage. I'm like, what the hell is it? Why would you need anything else? And as I said in the second clip or the video I did, like, they screwed up the props. the scenes of when they shot it because his gun was reappearing and disappearing. And then he pulls it out. He pulls out the Winchester gun to attack Maximus in his power armor. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How does that work? He's laughing. He's like, ah! He's like firing round after round. I'm like, okay, you're fucked. You're gonna die. And he gets thrown across the town. He's fine. Like, is this guy a rubber? Like, he gets shot. He's fine. He gets punched by the gulper. He gets knocked out for like 15, 20 seconds. I'm like, okay.
The only weakness he has is that yellow juice that he needs to inject.
Oh God!
Once in a while, because unless he does that, he goes feral.
He's asthmatic or something. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's Newcomers too. Fallout stands out from the competition because it's so loaded with details, meaning you can give the first season multiple viewings and still catch something new every time.
Yeah, new problems.
Oh, really?
You catch, like, this is the thing. Even Mahler said this, that you watch it a second time, you pick up on worse, like, things you missed because it was so bad.
Yeah, like what I was saying about the first episode. Because, like, if you understand, like, some of the backstory that's explained, like, throughout the series, but especially, like, the last episode, if, like, those rails are NCR, why did they do that to the vault? Why didn't they just, like, go to that one guy, the overseer of Vault 33, who doesn't seem to remember Moldaver, who they were colleagues with, kind of, or, like, competitors at the time before the bombs fell. None of that explained.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they put so much detail into everything, and if you screw up one detail, it really bleeds itself out because you weren't paying attention. Because it's so much fun. Like, even I had to, like, pause to figure out how Lucy lost the head, and it teleports around her body. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, it's just, like this is they keep doing this with props. All you got to do is have a gaffer on set say, where's the prop? It's at her side. Okay, good. Mark it down with the whatever. Put something on the ground. This is her arm location. When you call for action, make sure it's there. They couldn't do that because they had to realize the gulper has to teleport around her and drag her up the hill. This giant body of a water creature that makes no sound apparently. And suddenly the head is from her left, I think her hip, while she's being dragged, teleports behind the right top of her head. And that's the gulper grabs it. And you're like, wait, how did it get there? So, I don't know.
Probably worth mentioning that Fallout fans aren't happy about everything the show has done. Prime Video's series is set in the year 2296, which is the latest point in the timeline that the franchise has ever explored.
That's fine.
Because the show was pushed into new territory, it was bound to ruffle the feathers of the fans who are more well-versed on Fallout history to this point. Controversially, the show establishes that a town called Shady Sands has been destroyed, which immediately upsets some fans of the franchise. For one, Shady Sands was the capital city of the New California Republic, a much-loved faction from the games. A blackboard in the show seemed to indicate that Shady Sands was destroyed in 2277, which is 4 years before the events of Fallout New Vegas, a game that featured the NCR in a pivotal role and yet never features the destruction of Shady Sands. If you're a newcomer to the franchise, this controversy won't affect your enjoyment of the show in the slightest. For diehard fans, though, it caused such a stir that Bethesda felt the need to clear the air and say New Vegas is still part of the canon. No doubt this timeline snafu is going to haunt Fallout subreddits for years to come, or at least until we get Fallout Season 2. Still, the fact that people won't stop talking about it is actually helping to maintain discourse around the show, giving it more time in the spotlight than the binge-release model usually allows.
So you're saying a bunch of fans complaining about it still is a good thing?
It's a good thing because, like, it's gonna keep it, the memory of the show more active.
Is that like saying all news is good news, even if it's bad news?
Yes. All publicity is good publicity.
All these hardcore fans are arguing and bashing the thing for being lore inaccurate. That's a good thing. Like, what?
I think, like, those hardcore fans were pretty much gonna, like, pay for, like, most of these merchandises and all the other shit that, like, these series would release if it was good. are gonna be the ones who gonna leave this series just after this being disappointed this hard.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of people online who love, let's say, Helldivers 2, and they're building their own helmets, they're building their own armor, they're building their own guns. They're not buying. I don't even know if there's official merchandise of Helldivers 2. You could buy your own stuff, but there might be the hardcore model guy who just likes making stuff. He's like, oh, I like Fallout. I'll try making Lucy's gun from the game or from the show. Like, that's like one or two guys would do that. But no one's going to buy, I think, the Vault suits or the Pit Boys. Like, they've already bought them. They already bought them, I'm sure. If they're that kind of person, they wouldn't buy them again. They did make a joke, though, about her bag. Because all the controversy surrounding Fallout 76, the nylon bags that they were promised cloth ones, but they got nylon instead. But in the show, she's using cotton or whatever. Like, that was kind of the jokes. Oh, at least they fixed the bag problem. Like, okay, this $12-14 million budget of a show, of an episode. It's like, yeah, I think they can afford some cloth.
Noting that Fallout is enjoying a serious boost due to the platform on which it was released. There are roughly 800 million streaming services to choose from these days, but at least in terms of subscriber count, they don't all come equal. Amazon Prime Video boasts over 200 million subscribers, which makes it the second largest streamer in the business. Only a portion of a subscriber base is gonna watch any given show, of course, but Prime Video series nevertheless have a huge advantage, thanks to the sheer number of eyes that will see them on the homepage when they sign into their smart TV. Prime Video has also had a string of successes lately, mostly involving shows that have some overlap with the Fallout fandom. The Boys, Gen V, and Invincible might be more focused on the superhero genre, but the heady mix of sci-fi, action, and gore you'll find in those shows happens to be a key ingredient in what makes Fallout work so well.
You're not the real heroes. I'm the real hero.
Prime Video is becoming known more and more as a platform that crafts quality genre entertainment. So when it puts out a show like Fallout, even people who aren't familiar with the franchise are going to be tempted to check it out. A show like Fallout isn't merely designed to attract Prime Video subscribers, it's also supposed to bring new people to the platform. And it's clear that Amazon really believed in this show's potential to do just that. Amazon gave Fallout a jaw-dropping budget of $153 million, which puts it in league with the most expensive TV productions of all time. The budget shines through in the on-location set.
Wasn't Rings of Power on Amazon Prime?
Yes. And it was even more expensive.
It was like $1 million a minute, so we're talking like, it was a 60-minute per episode.
Yeah, but like we gotta separate like the kind of cost that like the license itself costed for Amazon and the budget of the episode itself.
Yeah,
but it should still be like $1 billion.
Yeah, I think the budget for Rings of Power was the highest. Like that, it just dwarfs everything else. Like, it's so big. So I don't think from Amazon's platform. You want to talk about Netflix, it's different, but Amazon's platform, no, it's not even close. Now that could just be a stupid thing Amazon did, but that's just what we're talking about. Then we have to compare it to the actual values. We can't just say, "Oh yeah, it's in the ballpark." It's like not even close. 3 episodes of Rings of Power is the entire budget of season 1 of Fallout.
Effects on display in Season 1, of course. But Amazon's money also helped Fallout's marketing push before the series premiere. Amazon plastered Fallout all over Prime Video, with multiple trailers building hype for the series.
Multiple? I only saw one. Was there multiple?
There was only one.
Okay. Maybe you had to be subscribed to Prime to see them? I don't know.
Also, who the fuck cares how many trailers they released for a show?
Yeah, if you're not advertising to the general audience, I had no idea they were. The only time I saw any trailers were during the episode, like before or after the episode started or finished.
Yes.
They had the teaser stuff, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, like what happened previously and like from the next episode.
Yeah.
By the way, like the place where we stopped the video, that's the remnants of the NCR.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Those outfits.
Those outfits. And the worst thing about it is that like there's a throwaway episode where you see the NCR Ranger uniform. Well, kind of like something like that being used by two scavengers. So like they're just like spitting in your face. Because why don't they use some of that stuff here?
I thought the NCR, well, the normal soldier uniform is all brown.
Yeah, all brown. Like, why do they have money for this? Like, why do they change it like that?
Yeah, I thought this was the Enclave.
Yeah.
They're black. But the Rangers have the dusters. They got the helmets.
The dusters and like the helmet with the red eyes. Like, yeah. Those are used in the show, but only for like a throwaway scene where like the father and son are trying to scavenge for some shit.
Maybe it's because it's too reminiscent of New Vegas, and they want to focus on Fallout 4.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming like I'm gonna play a devil's advocate for this, but like probably that uniform is only used for the New Vegas area.
Yeah, because this seems to be way more influenced by Fallout 4, and that's fine. They could use whatever. They could use Fallout 1. I don't really care.
The last few seconds of the show is one of the characters, one of the villains arriving at the New Vegas Strip.
Oh, really?
Yes, and apparently, like that's like where Vault-Tec as one of their headquarters, which doesn't make any sense.
Interesting. Well, remember we made jokes about the Witcher uniforms for, was it Niflgaard, or what was the name of that empire? They had the scrotum armor. Whatever it was called. It's like, why did that have to happen? Why couldn't you just use the freaking game models and just ask a tailor to just make it look like that? No, they got to get like these poofy looking stupid black God knows what that armor was. What is up with fashion designers or costume designers? They can't just, someone must have given them direction to change things.
Series. Bethesda produced a number of behind-the-scenes featurettes, with executive producer Todd Howard speaking in interviews about the show's.
So we can blame Tom Howard again. He's the front man. He's the lore master.
Todd Howard, thank you for ruining yet
another Fallout experience. You're the creative. He's the creative consultant or producer. I don't know what he is, but if you had any of your toes in this, your grubby little hands, why didn't you say no? Do it this way, the way it was done in the games, because that's what people are expecting. And they tried to do some of that. Obviously, they got the blue.
Well, I have read like the interview with Todd Howard, and like the first sentence was just really boggling my mind. So those people, the showrunners, approached him that they want to make the Fallout show, and he said like, okay, and like their idea is that like we're gonna nuke Shady Sands. And he said like he was shocked, but like he said like that's a good idea.
What?
Yeah.
Let's blow up New Vegas. Like, wait, why?
What? Okay, I never liked California anyway.
Yeah, well. Oh, dear. That just means we're never going to get an Obsidian or Interplay or any of those old guys to come back to make the next Fallout. It's going to be another Bethesda
they're
game.
never going to share that. Because, like, Bethesda is very protective of Fallout. Like, they will never give it to, like, a third-party studio.
I don't know. We've had multiple reviewers talk about New Vegas and talk about Fallout 4. And they all say Vegas is the better story-driven game. Maybe not necessarily the combat is the best. Obviously, there's lots of complexity in Fallout 4. That's why people like playing it. I totally get that. And then 76, arguably, is a good game. I haven't seen it since its launch. But from what I'm hearing, it's a good game. They fixed a lot of the problems. But it does not bring me to want to do that, to play an MMO Fallout game. It just doesn't, like, I don't want that. I want a single player style of game with lots of consequences. That's all. And then you give me the goofy comedy violence of the Fallout universe, and you get the best example in New Vegas. It's just the best example. Not saying 3 is bad. It's just limited. It's very simple. Not saying 4 is bad. It's just there's huge problems. But gameplay wise, yeah, Fallout 4 is a lot more complicated.
Accuracy in relation to the games. Then there's the merch. The Fallout franchise has always been ripe for swag, but Bethesda's latest Pip-Boy replica and Amazon's roundup of show-related merch really helped keep people engaged with the series, even when they weren't watching it. For a long time, the few video game adaptations that existed were anything but quality. The original Super Mario Bros., for example, or 2005's Doom movie.
We're all killers, Reaper. It's what they pay us for.
These films barely stuck to their source material and didn't have many other redeeming qualities of their own. Compared to those days, the 2020s are a utopia for video game fans itching to put down the controller and watch something. Not only have we been given a redemptive Mario movie, but we've also been showered with TV adaptations that range from acceptable to award-winning. Shows such as Halo take their source material as a mere suggestion, but balance that out with great-looking effects.
Is this trying to be a joke?
Is he like, did he watch the show?
It seems to be like he's praising Halo show.
So because they took the source material as a suggestion, but that's okay because there's great action scenes.
That is exactly like what my coworkers were saying about the Halo show. Is that he's probably like the only person on the planet that is hyped about it. He said like, well, I really like Halo show because it has nothing to do about the video game, which I haven't played. And it's based on the thing that Halo is based on, about the rings. And if that is the kind of like attitude person who has no connection to these series are approaching this, watching these things, I just know. How the fuck can you watch anything?
That's like saying, imagine there was a Metal Gear series and saying, I don't know anything about the games, but
Phantom Pain, like playing the Phantom Pain.
That's too complicated.
Playing any of the previous, like there were so many people who did that, or like Metal Gear Revengeance. Like you will find like a bunch of people who haven't even played the game, and they're gonna be like saying like, who the fuck is this guy from Metal Gear Solid 2? Like this isn't Raiden.
Well, considering what your friend just said, it sounds as if, I can't wait to see what happens to Metal Gear. I'm like, what? That's not really the focus of the story. The Metal Gear is just the goal that everyone's trying to stop.
It's just the goal, the MacGuffin.
Yeah, the whole point is trying to stop the villains from their dastardly plans. That's and how they go about doing that. And like, I don't know, does the Halo show have any like first person camera, like as if someone was playing a Halo game?
Yes.
Oh, it does that.
It has a few of those, but for the most part, it's just the actor without the armor, and he's not wearing the helmet too much.
Okay.
So because there was a decision, because otherwise you can't see the actor himself.
Which works perfectly fine in all the cutscenes of all the games, but
he never removes the helmet, if I recall.
Isn't Master Chief the guy they call in that when no one else can do the job, and he's like, I'm going to do it?
That's the character.
Yeah. He's like a one-man commando, like in
like
Red Alert.
The Doom guy.
The Doom guy. Yeah, exactly. He's the I'm going to take on an army by myself, and I'm kind of like Solid Snake. I'll pick up all the weapons as I go.
Yeah, but even like the Doom guy doesn't really remove the helmet.
Yeah. He's too busy. He's got too much to do.
He doesn't have any lie. He barely talks. He grunts for the most part.
It's not impossible to write a silent protagonist who is too busy doing.
Freeman.
Yeah, exactly. He's too busy acting. That's what characters or protagonists do. They don't sit and talk unless the story is a philosophical conflict, and that's like a diplomat or a literal philosopher arguing with another philosopher. Like that's the story. But in a war story like Halo, there's nothing wrong with having secondary characters like Cortana and the generals and all the other dudes giving us exposition, explaining what's going on while the main character does all the action. It's kind of like watching a Commando movie or Predator. It's like we don't need too much dialogue to understand what's going on. We just need the characters to think and act in a survival way of how am I going to stop this invisible villain who's killing all my buddies? What do I do? What plot do I set up? What plan? What strategy? What weapons? Like we don't need Arnold to like flex his acting muscles and go, okay, I need to talk about my dead friends in a poetic way that is romantic when I'm in the middle of the night when the giant spear is going to, like, you don't need that. You just give us really cool scenes. It's an action flick. It's I don't know. These people don't seem to understand their audience very well.
And acid metal ups the action even more and demonstrates that a video game show can be just entertaining enough.
Twisted Metal was a live action? I can't, holy shit. Did I miss this?
Yes, it was a bomb. It had the Black Falcon guy from the Marvels.
Oh, really?
The MCU. I almost said Marvels. Isn't that a separate movie? Never mind. The guy who says you gotta do better, Santa.
Yeah.
And then there were like very funny lines in this movie.
The only thing I remember from Twisted Metal recently was Square Attack? What the hell is that? Death Battle? Where he fought the Joker?
Yeah.
Like, that was a cool death battle where he fought the Joker. I thought that was pretty good with all 3D. I didn't know there was a show. Oh my God.
No, it's a movie.
Oh, it's just a movie. Okay, fair enough. That's probably why.
All I remember is that it's a PS1 game.
You know, there are plenty of stories and movies that are about cars and about, like, there's one called Death Race 2000, which was made in the 70s. It's like this R-rated.
Isn't that with Sylvester Stallone?
I don't know. I don't remember who the main character is. I don't think so. But it's got nudity.
Death Race 2000?
Yeah, it's got nudity. It's got all kinds of decapitations and people blowing up and these crazy looking cars. So if they wanted to do something like that in a series, it could work. It's not hard. But with the context of a video game?
Yes, it is.
With the context of a video game, I don't know, because the video game is just violence. So it would be this gory, crazy. Honestly, I could write that very easily because I've read stories like that. Harlan Ellison wrote that in his Deathbird stories. So it's I think it's called an afternoon, not a stroll, an afternoon cruise or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Oh my God, it's David Carradine and Sylvester Stallone.
They're in Death Race? Is that what it was?
Yeah, David Carradine is Frankenstein, and Sylvester Stallone is Machine Gun Joe.
Huh. Funny. I do remember watching it, 20, 25 years ago, and you're like, oh, this is wild. Like, this was fun. It was a fun, crazy, because you can imagine getting all these cars in the 70s where they have all kinds of cars, and just like turning, like, put blades on them, put machine guns on them, do all kinds of crazy shit, like you're watching a crazy James Bond post-apocalyptic something or other. Like, it's fun. It's silly, but you know who it's for. It's for guys. It's to watch a bunch of cars and a bunch of chicks. Anyway.
But itself too seriously. And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room. HBO's The Last of Us series sets a new standard for video game adaptations, and that's something Fallout executive producer Jonathan Nolan is well aware of. Nolan told The Hollywood Reporter that when he first started working on Fallout, no one had any idea if a video game show could actually be good.
Are you real?
You know, there's nothing. This has nothing to do with being a video game show. It's, can I make a good movie or a good series? And then you say, how do I make a good series using the ideas and lore from this? It doesn't matter if it's a video game, from anything. And you go, okay, how does that work in reality? Because obviously a book is not real. A movie, at least you have actors to fall back on and their performances, and how do they have special effects? They have practical effects. How could I make that nowadays with the budget I've got? That's it. That's all you got to figure out.
I think like figuring out how to adapt something like Dune is much more difficult than adapting Fallout.
Gigantic worms, gigantic scenes, flying machines. With this, it's like Vertibird, CGI. Rent out the cockpit, or rent out the back part of a Black Hawk or whatever. It's like, just do that. Not too hard. Yeah, the power armor is a bit weird. You might have to make a rig, maybe. But even then, it's all green screen. So you have this rig. You get the guy into it, so he's standing up. Even then, you might not even have to do that. I'm not sure what they could work with, but yeah, no, this is. It's still hard, but it's not like you literally just copy what's from the games. Don't change much. You add stuff to make sense of your world, because it's never going to be perfect. So just work with what you got. The fact that stim packs are an elixir is annoying me, because there's certain things you don't do because it's real. It's no longer a game. So how would you make a real Fallout world? And yes, you can goof around with radiation a bit, because no one really knows exactly how radiation will affect the body in the world of, because Fallout, everything's radiated. Like, everyone's got irradiation. And in Fallout 4, it's stupid. Like, you literally have a health meter, and more than half your body could be irradiated, and what happens? Your heart just pumps a little louder. You might die random. Like in New Vegas, you could just die. You just instantly die because your rads are slightly high. It's like, what? I died? Why? Because the game told you have too many rads, and that's that. Yeah, it will go. There's a max limit. You'll die instantly, but if you have 80% too many rads, you're dead. Just because. So you could play around with stuff like that, but don't mess with the actual history. Don't mess with the main characters or the primary characters like Mr. House, which is what you showed me.
Yes.
Do not screw that up. Just copy it. It's a guy. His name is Mr. House, Robert House. Just use him. Get an actor that he looks kind of like him, I guess. Doesn't quite sound like him, but that's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. Anyway.
Now that's changed, he says, telling the outlet, when somebody makes something as good as The Last of Us, it makes it easier, because suddenly everyone understands what's possible.
That's stupid. That's a really dumb thing to say, because just because someone else did something that's popular doesn't mean it's good. It's just, people have accepted it. It's like, why? Why did they like it? What made it good? If it even is good.
But isn't the Fallout TV show have been in production for more than a year? Because that would mean that because Last of Us released last year, beginning of last year, around that time, I think February or something like that. So it means he saw that shit and then he said okay, I'm sure now that I can make Fallout work. It just sounds so retarded.
That's a weird thing to say, because all you're doing is saying, well, someone else could do it. Why can't I? It's like, well, I don't need someone else to be a baseline. If you know how to make a thing, just make the thing, plan it out and say, or even then compare it and go, oh, I can do better. And that's great, because when they adapted The Last of Us, they changed the way the zombies work, how they're infected. And they did not even have to do that, because the original games were very much based off reality as well. The lore was already figured out, we're going to make this weird mushroom style virus. You're like, oh, cool. It's done. You don't have to reinvent it.
Yeah.
But they did. And they reinvented how the zombies spread it. It's just this is stupid. We didn't have to do this. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's more disgusting this way. They got these little tentacles, and you're I guess but you didn't have to do that. We have an adaptation because it's real. It's supposed to look real and act real, and people go, well, people's arms don't bend that way, and if you fall from a great height, you're gonna break your leg. Like stuff like that, you still have to play around with, but not to the point of being superhuman or like you can get away with a lot of crap in Fallout because of radiation and mutation, but not that much.
In some ways, Fallout has been able to capitalize on the success of The Last of Us, as potential viewers finally believe video game adaptations can actually work. Fallout has something for everyone, except maybe kids, that is. It's a post-apocalyptic show for adults, sure, but there are plenty of scenes that don't line up with the image that description might summon up. Fallout is frequently dramatic and consistently gory, but it's also satirical, slapstick-heavy, or downright silly at times. This is something...
So why haven't too many adults watched it then? My brother came by and he said, "Oh, I got you Amazon Prime." I was like, "Cool." And the first thing he showed us was you could watch Fallout. And I'm like, I heard about it, yeah. And I told my dad, yeah, he's sharing because you can get multiple accounts at different devices. And he's like, I don't care. I even told him about it the week before that this is a thing because one of my favorite games has a TV series and it has music from the 50s that mom might like. You might want to watch it. He's like, I don't care.
He knows better.
Yeah.
How not to ruin the day.
I know. So, like, what are you gonna do? Oh, you really gotta watch this show, Dad. My old gentlemanly father. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'll watch golf. It's good.
Gamers have already become quite used to. The Fallout games have remained so successful and popular because they aren't afraid to tell a story with a range of different tones. In the games, you'll go from a terrifying chase with a deathclaw to delivering a violin to a tearful elderly woman. Then the next day, you'll stumble into the headquarters of a cult that worships a talking tree. Jonathan Nolan told The Hollywood Reporter that, when he first played Fallout 3, it was that variety that surprised him most. He said, "It was the sense of humor and irony and the cutting level of satire, and this depiction of an Eisenhower-era America that never lost its swagger and kept lumbering forward. It just had a unique tone." The show has managed to perfectly translate all the different notes that the games hit so well. Individual episodes flip back and forth from comedy to drama to horror, making every scene incredibly engaging to watch.
We were really interested in peeling back the layers of the absurd situations that are just very Fallout.
This is like a new installation of the games.
For an Amazon Prime Video show, Fallout has utilized an interesting release strategy. While some of the streamers' biggest shows have been released week to week, Prime Video chose the binge model for Fallout. In some cases, a binge release can mean viewers burn through all the material in one go and promptly forget about the series until a new season is released. But here, Fallout has another thing going for it. This show is just the beginning. Anyone who becomes interested in Fallout after watching Season 1 doesn't have to wait years before they can return to this world. There are a ton of Fallout games that they can dive into immediately. And that's exactly what seems to be happening. After the show's release, the Bethesda Fallout games have more than tripled their concurrent player counts on Steam.
See, this is funny because I've always said I play New Vegas at least once a year. I think the past 3 years I've played it multiple times the past 3 years because there's new mods and new stories, new characters, new weapons. So I don't really care about the show. It hasn't driven me to play New Vegas. I got other games to play, I got other shows to watch, other books to read. So I always say this to fans. People who are fans of the games will be playing the games. We don't care. If there's a new one or an old, or a remaster. We may check a remaster out maybe if there's new content, but no, we don't care. If it's good, we'll buy it.
It's not. We're not the Skyrim audience.
Oh yeah, this guy is just constantly reinstalling Skyrim or
reselling Skyrim because there's different editions of Skyrim.
Oh really?
From Bethesda. Yeah, they are. There's at least 10 of them.
Wow.
The Ultimate Edition, the Extended Edition, shit like that.
Isn't Fallout 4 was it 8 years old now? 9 years old?
Yes, 8 years old.
Yeah, it's
or even older now.
I saw it on sale for 90% off 2 years ago. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, same. I just don't care.
It's
even right now, Fallout 2 is a pain in the ass to
oh god, yeah.
Play.
To emulate, let alone when it crashes. Oh my god.
It doesn't crash. They have fixed it. There's a restoration mod.
That's great.
To Fallout 2, and it's the most stable game I've ever played, like from the old ones. But like, the game itself is just like bullshit. Like you go around like the map, because I never played through Fallout 2 ever. Like, so I'm like going in blind, and like you get lost, and like you get like these random encounters, and like every single time it's either like one of those machine gun raiders who just like one shot you and you're dead. So you have to load the save again, and then like go around and like hope that you're not gonna bump into them again. It's just like a bit tedious, and like especially when you're doing an unarmed build where you have like no weapons at all.
Yeah, the challenge was pretty high. The random elements were, well, with guns were really hard.
Oh yes.
And you get swarmed so many times. Like it becomes like you get swarmed by enemies. The enemies end up killing each other because there's just so many of them. They miss you and they shoot their friends. It's like, this is so stupid. It's funny, but you can't win.
Yeah.
So like the spear always annoyed the shit out of me, because you could throw it or you could use it as a melee weapon, and you just keep missing. And like, how am I missing with a spear? Like, it's a freaking spear. I'm like, come on. Oh dear. But yeah, no, it's one of those hard games that I remember fondly.
People are clearly enthusiastic about the series after Season 1, and the games are going to help keep that enthusiasm alive until the next season arrives. On top of that, because the show and the games are so intertwined, viewers can use their experience in the games to theorize about what might happen in the Wasteland when Prime Video's show returns. All in all, Fallout seems to be a best-case scenario as far as video game adaptations go. Roll on Season 2.
So people like it because it's popular. That's not much of a... Not much of an analysis there, buddy.
Well, they didn't try.
Why? Follow is blowing everyone away because people like it. Like, why? What's good about it's like the games? No, it's not. It changes. You just told us it blows up an entire city of one of the main factions. What are you talking about?
Anyway.
I don't know. Well, that's what you expect from YouTube channels like this. It's all mainstream opinion. There's no nuance. There's no details. No contrary opinions. How about interview one of the people who disagree, who know better?
They're never gonna do that.
Why are we wrong? Tell us why. Let's talk about that. Okay. Anyway, let's see if we got any memes. We might. It's been a while. We missed Anime Day, so.
There seem to be a few.
They got me when I was on the stream with the Salty Nerd podcast. There's Columbo. People were calling me Kramer on the cast because I didn't get a haircut in a few months.
Yes.
I was like, that's true. If I mess it up a bit more, it's pretty much Kramer. There's me with my my hat. Was my bounty hat? What is that hat? I don't know what it's made.
Did you steal it from Linkara?
It's not a fedora. It's something else. I don't know what it's called though. It's one of those weird looking hats. I don't know why my mom got me a brown hat. I was like, thanks, Mom. I don't really wear hats, but what is this? Nuke the whales? Oh my god. That's
Isn't that the plot of Star Trek 4?
I'm advocating for Smud with a hat. All right. I only have 2 hats. I don't really wear them. Everything else is just like a baseball cap or whatever. J. Robert Oppenheimer, we have to rein in the bomb. I have blood on my hands. President Truman, shut up, science bitch. What? I haven't watched the movie, so I don't know what this is all about.
It's the real life conversation between the two.
Oh, really? Bombs Pearl Harbor, United States. My turn. What is that? What is he wearing?
It's the Iron Man one.
Oh, from the first one.
When he's trying to make the armor for the terrorists.
Okay, let me turn that on, because we're all giggling and no one can see what we're talking about. All right. Nukes Japan. Did you just nuke us, US? Want to see me do it again? They were napalm bombing Tokyo and other cities before the bomb dropped, so they were already busy. So that was an unnecessary thing to do. I don't know why they did that. Anime before nukes, anime after nukes. Improvement? You tell me. Today was fun. Hug her. Nuke Chile? Nuke Chile? What? I don't think Chile was ever nuked. Maybe I could be wrong. trying to guess how that works out. Maybe it's part of some lore there. Ernie told Bert they were airdropping relief packages. The atomic blast says otherwise. Oh. Just to prove a point. Why are we reading Sesame Street memes about bombing Japan? I'm not sure what's happening here. Is this all related somehow? Ernie educates Bert about why the Japanese deserve a third nuclear bombing. Jeez, what is this? Ernie explains his plans to nuke animal shelters for the joy of crying children. Okay. Yeah, we missed Anime Day, so... Boom, May the 1st. I can't believe it's May. Wow. So quick.
Yes, finally May.
Anyway, I'm still working. I don't know why it's taking me so long to do episode 3. It's really easy to write up. I recorded on my audio. And I just feel like I'm just not tired of it. I'm just like, I have other things to do. And it just doesn't motivate me too much. Maybe the stories get better. Or they get so sufficiently worse it motivates me out of anger to finish off.
It's hilariously bad, like with each episode.
Yeah, like with 2 it was really bad. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get this out the door. With 3, I'm like, oh, if you just don't care, it's fine. If you actually think about it, it's kind of bad. But it's not, like, because things happen so quickly. So I was like, okay, X happens and Y happens and Z happens. Yes, it's contrived. Yes, there's not as many coincidences as 2, but there's still a few. So it's sort of like half and half okay, and the other half is bad. So it's like I'm not that motivated. It's a weird feeling where you're like, I should finish this up. It's easy to do, but it's not that bad. Okay.
Oh,
it's like boring bad.
Wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'll finish it up this week for sure. I got other work to do, of course, but in fact, someone was calling while we were streaming away, so I had to turn that off. Anyway, thanks, guys. That was fun. I think we were going to do a Cowboy Bebop one on Monday, but no one was interested. But my brain is focused on fall as a result of the show and my videos, so hopefully we'll get that cleaned up by the end of the month. And I can focus on other shows or focus on something else. That would be nice. Oh, by the way, I did pass Yuden Chronicle just 2 days. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Took me a week. That's probably took up all my time. It's a 60-hour game. Jesus. So long to play. It was Yuden Chronicle is based off Suikoden, or it came from the same team that made Suikoden, so it felt very similar, but...
Is it worth a successor?
If you like Suikoden, you'll be happy. If you're just trying to play a JRPG, there's a lot to like, because they just throw like all these mini games at you, but the quality of those games are very low. So like they have a top spinning game, but it's like a puddle. There's nothing to it. And there's a card game. The card game is surprisingly good. There's a cooking battle game. They literally screwed it up. Like you can choose appetizer, main, dessert. Doesn't matter. You could put dessert first. You could use the same 3 dishes every time in any order, and you win almost every battle. It's the dumbest shit. It doesn't matter who the judges are. It doesn't matter who you're battling. You always win. It's like, this is dumb. So, but it's fun. There's lots of things to do. There's lots of...
reminds me of Pizak from Knights of the Old Republic.
Pizak is actually more had more going for it. In this game, you actually get starter packs, and you get booster packs for your card game. But the card game's actually good. So it's kind of like in Final Fantasy VIII, where Triple Triad was really a good game, and it was better than it was better. You go everywhere, just randomly like hitting the X or the square button, see if you could play them in Triple Triad. In this, I wish because they put such a focus on the stupid top game, because it's like, I'm not saying top games are boring, or if you like playing what's that top game that's was popularized? I can't remember what it's called. But
Final Fantasy Tactics.
No, there's no top game. Anyway, they could have made this top game really cool, but they made it part of the story in certain ways. Like the main characters are top addicts, and there's like the 4 elemental top players, and it felt like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like you're playing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Side mission subplot, which is fine, but if the top game is not a very good top game, it's stupid. It's annoying. It's in the way. And you need to get through this subplot to get all the characters to get the better ending. And you're like, oh my God, this is so... but when you get to the ending, you're like, I just don't care anymore. It is so boring. So there's a limitation. There's a limit to how many things you could do in a Suikoden style game. But unless those mini games are fun, you're just gonna bore everyone with boring games. So... Beyblade. Thank you, Wisp. Yeah, I forgot what it was called. Anyway. I had to go check out what's going on. I had some problems with my internet TV provider. And hopefully they have all these nationwide outages. It's going crazy now. Canada. All of Canada has their TV through this provider going.
The Trudeau is spreading.
The CBC money is coming due. It's like, oh, we got to cash those checks. Like, oh, shit. Someone's got to get paid. Yeah, not the Bank of Canada. So anyway, thanks guys for listening. We'll probably be doing more Fallout videos as they come, just because it's on my mind. But we will see you soon, hopefully Friday. We'll talk to you later. Good night.